All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So House Bill 177, which is now incorporates House Bill 199, is the National Popular Vote Compact bill. So this is a bill that would enter Virginia into an interstate compact known as the Agreement among the States to Elect the President by National Popular Vote. Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States gives states the exclusive and plenary authority to decide the manner of awarding their electoral votes.
Marcus?
Yep.
I noticed that the patron is not. Oh, the patron is here. I'm
Yep.
sorry. He snuck in on me. Slid it on in. All right. So go right ahead.
Yep. So under the compact, what Virginia agrees to do is award its electoral votes to the presidential ticket that receives the most popular votes in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. The compact goes into effect when states cumulatively possessing a majority of the electoral votes have joined the compact. A state may withdraw from the compact. However, a withdrawal occurring within 6 months of the end of a president's term shall not become effective until a president or vice president has qualified to serve the next term. So this bill would say Virginia has the Constitution gives us sole authority to determine what we do with our electoral votes, and we would agree to send them to the winner of the national popular vote. The committee recommends reporting with a substitute, so I move the substitute.
So moved. Second? You don't need a second.
All right. There's a.
You do?
There is a motion for a substitute to be adopted as it relates to HB 177.
Mr. Chairman, do we have copies of the substitute? Because it's not online.
I don't remember substitute.
It's probably for incorporation.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Substitute incorporating 199, okay.
That is correct, Mr. or Delegate Cole.
All right. All right, so we now understand that the substitute relates to the incorporation of HB 199. All persons in favor of that substitute as offered signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay.
And so, Mr. Chairman, the subcommittee recommended reporting with the substitute, which, again, because it's a compact, the words are not negotiable, but it was just to get the patrons aligned. The subcommittee recommended reporting 5-3, and I so move.
All right, any discussion on HB 177? Yeah, I'm sorry. Delegate Cole.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understand what this would actually do. My understanding of it, and if the patron could just confirm or deny this, is that it would award Virginia's electors based on the national vote, regardless of how Virginia votes. So a candidate that carries Virginia may end up not actually getting Virginia's electoral votes. Is that correct?
That's correct. What it does is it allows every Virginian's votes to be counted. What happened in 2016 is the Virginia Trump voters, some 47% of Virginia, voted for Trump, but their votes were not counted at all. Every single one of Virginia's electoral votes went to Hillary Clinton. What this bill would do is it'd say that every Virginian's vote counts. Whether you voted for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, it would all go into the national count, and people would know that even if you're in the reddest of red states, the bluest of blue states, your vote is always counted.
Delegate Rush.
Question for the patron?
Delegate Rush.
So, of course, we're not relitigating 2016, so we're looking forward. So under this proposal, it doesn't matter who wins the state. It will always will go to the national popular winner, correct?
Yes, I believe the President of the United States is the President of the United States and not the President of Virginia. So therefore, the people of the United States should choose the President of the United States, no matter where they live in an individual state.
Follow up, please.
Well, before you follow up, did he answer your question? Because I'm confused. I thought I heard one question and a different response.
Mr. Chairman, I believe he answered it the way he wanted to.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Delegate Rush.
Delegate Levine, coming from a rural area, do you think that this is an advantage to rural America or a disadvantage?
Again, when it comes to rural Virginians, I would say it's an advantage.
Well, Mr. Chairman, you talked about the President
True.
of the United States.
That's true.
So you didn't talk about Virginia in your previous answer. So do you think this is an advantage to rural Americans or a disadvantage?
I would say it gives every American equal weight under the law. So, for example, folks in D.C., very small. They get 3 electoral votes. That's a very urban area. Folks in Wyoming, that's a rural area. They get 3 electoral votes. In Wyoming and in D.C., those citizens have 4 times the weight of the citizens of Virginia. So I don't believe the people of D.C. in a very urban area deserve 4 votes for every Virginian. I don't believe the people in Wyoming, a very rural area, deserve 4 times the votes of every Virginian. As I noted, in Virginia, rural Virginians would actually get to cast their votes and have them counted in a state that has gone blue in the presidential election for the last several elections. But at the end of the day, it's all about one person, one vote. I don't believe these other states should have 4 times the power of Virginia. I think every Virginian should have equal power with every other American.
Delegate Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clarifying question based on Delegate Rush's first question. So if this bill went into effect and the election was in November and the election happens in November, where would Virginia's electoral votes go in January of 2021?
So the way the compact works is until states signing on have a total of 270 electoral votes, nothing changes. So currently, 16 states or so have signed on, totaling 196 electoral votes. If we don't reach 270 by 2020, then nothing changes, and Virginia is a winner-take-all state, and the system stays the same. If, however, enough other states join the compact, and as I said, we're at 196, so we're almost there, we would make it 209 with our 13. If it reaches 270 by, I think it's 6 months before Election Day, so I think that would be May of 2020, then we would be in the national popular vote from then on.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Head.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So is there anything in this that would mandate that literally every vote is counted before determination, including all absentee and all provisional ballots, which frequently never get counted in presidential elections currently?
This would require every vote to be counted because the state head election officer of every one of the 50 states and D.C. Has to certify the final vote. So this actually is beneficial to those who cast an absentee or provisional ballot because they know their vote will be counted and it can matter. Whereas today, if someone is overwhelmingly ahead in a state, then they don't even count those votes. You're right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, follow-up
Delegate
question.
O'Quinn. Moving to dialogue. Delegate O'Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Delegate Levine, let me give you a scenario. Let's just say, for fun, that in 2020, that Donald Trump wins Virginia. And let's just say, for fun, fill in the blank, I don't know, Joe Biden wins the national vote. To whom does Virginia's votes go to?
Virginia's electors would go to the winner of the national popular vote. In that scenario, it would be Joe Biden. Conversely, if Virginia voted for Joe Biden and the nation voted for Donald Trump, they would go to Donald Trump. It's a national popular vote. It's pure democracy, one person, one vote, the way it's done in virtually every democracy around the globe.
Delegate Van Valkenburg.
Seems more like there's no point in having an election.
Delegate Van Valkenburg.
I withdraw my question, Delegate Lindsay, or Chairman Lindsay.
Delegate Krizik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Delegate, my concern is timing of this. You could get a lot of folks very excited if we were to pass this, and some folks very upset as well. But let's talk about the folks who are supportive. And they're going to think that come November, there's a whole, it's a new system. And they're going to, and if it doesn't pass in enough states, which a number of states would have to do this session, you would have, you would be sending kind of a mixed message, and there would be a lot of disappointment, a lot of people not knowing exactly what the process is. So I'm reluctantly not going to support this.
Delegate Head.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So asking a patron, if you're campaigning on a national level, it's a lot easier to get voter turnout in an urban area that's densely populated than it is to get voter turnout in a rural area. You mentioned Wyoming. It's a lot easier to get people to the polls in, say, Los Angeles or Chicago or Atlanta than it is in Wyoming, outside of Cheyenne, because it's wide open spaces. A lot easier to get people to vote in those areas. So wouldn't you be creating with this a situation where you'd be having all the resources of campaigns focused on the major metropolitan areas and ignoring the people that live in the rural areas so that you get huge voter turnout in those major metro areas where it's easier to do, and then ignoring the rural vote so that in fact you really would be ignoring the will of the individual states and ignoring the fact that we are a mosaic and a quilt, if you will, of different cultures and different frameworks as independent states without having a voice. We'd be following, and so instead of Virginia votes counting, it would really be California's votes counting.
So Delegate Head, I would respectfully disagree with you about the ease. If you look at airtime in New York or Los Angeles, it's inordinately expensive. Airtime in Cheyenne, Wyoming is a heck of a lot cheaper. We also have social media. We have national campaigns. You might want to put more of your ads on national media rather than local media. Put more on Fox News. Put more on CNN. It may well change the way campaigns are done. But I would suggest that social media and national media would be more used, and local media might be used less because, as I said, it's extremely expensive to get a 30-second ad in New York City. It's quite cheap to do it in some of our rural areas.
Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Sickle.
Mr. Chairman, I move the pending question.
Second.
All in favor of moving the pending question, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying nay. Okay. All right, the pending question is before us. Madam Clerk, please open the rolls. All in favor of HB 177, vote accordingly. All opposed, likewise. Interesting. Close the rolls. Yeah, I saw that. All right, it appears that the bill failed to report by a vote of 10 to 11.